Hello everyone and welcome back to Fuzz and Buzz. Today we're making my go-to dark chocolate mousse. That will be perfect like this in a cup, and it will make a wonderful cake filling as it has a silky smooth texture. So let's get into it. First of all, we're gonna start off with 1 2/3 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. That's about 400 milliliters. Preferably it should be chilled. Then add 1 tablespoon of cold espresso coffee. Then add 1.5 tablespoons of rum. Obviously, the coffee and rum is optional. It will taste wonderful without it as well. So if you make it for your kids, skip the coffee and rum. Whip it until you achieve soft peaks like this. Now store it in the fridge while we prepare the other ingredients. Now it's time to bloom the gelatin in cold water. We need to prepare the sugar syrup, so we need 4 tablespoons of water. Add 4 tablespoons of granulated sugar. Give it a quick stir and set it aside. We're gonna be heating it in just a minute. Now on to melting the chocolate. We need 7 ounces, that's 200 grams of semisweet dark chocolate. This particular chocolate is 55%, so anything around that is fine. I melted it in a microwave using small bursts, like 15-20 seconds at a time, and then stir. And repeat that until it's fully melted, and just add a pinch of salt and we're ready to go. For the next step, it's crucial to be a little bit fast, and that is why we prepare the sugar syrup without heating it just yet, and the cream of course. So take a medium-sized bowl. We need 1 egg and 3 yolks in here. Before you start beating the eggs, you should turn on the sugar syrup on medium heat. You need to work a little bit fast here, because as soon as the eggs tend to get a little bit fluffy like this, it's time to pour in the hot boiling sugar syrup. Don't pour everything at once. Pour it in slowly while you whip. Now it's time for the gelatin. Just take the sheet of bloom gelatin. Don't squeeze out the excess water. Put it in the pan that you just used for the sugar syrup. There should be enough heat left in the pan to melt the gelatin. Then pour it in the pan, just as we did with the sugar syrup. Now it's time for the melted chocolate. Make sure the chocolate is still a little bit warm to the touch. Add 1/3 of the chocolate. You have to work a little bit fast here, so the eggs and the chocolate doesn't cool down too much, because then it will become grainy. As you can see, this kind of looks grainy, but it's still hot enough to melt the chocolate. So just continue adding 1/3 at a time, and you will be fine. When you have incorporated all the chocolate into the eggs, it's time to add half the cream. And this is where you don't want to overmix. And the same kind of method, fold from underneath and up, so you kind of scrape the bottom every time you fold. Continue folding until you have an even color, and then you're basically done with the mousse. Now take your favorite glass and fill it up with a couple of spoons of this delicious chocolate mousse. Well, you could use a piping bag also, of course. Give it a quick shake to even it out a little bit, if you prefer that, of course. If you get trapped air like I did here, it might not always work with a shake. So you might have to use a spoon, run it down the side and kind of get the air out that way. Then just cover it with cling film and store it in the fridge for about 2 hours. Now on to the topping. We need 11 ounces, that's 300 grams of frozen or fresh raspberries. Use half of that in the pan. Add 1/3 of a cup of granulated sugar. So basically what we're doing is a fancy jam, but I think you're gonna like it. Turn the heat on medium, and as it starts to boil, start stirring it. You want all the berries to dissolve, basically. So when all the berries are dissolved, it's time to strain out the seeds. Oops, I made a mess. Now it's time to pour it back in the pan, and we're gonna reduce this a little bit. Take out some excess water so it gets more to be like a little bit thicker syrup. This process doesn't take long at all, maybe 1-2 minutes. If it gets too thick, you can always add 1 teaspoon of water to dilute it a little bit again. But this looks nice. I think we're there. As you see, when it has cooled down a little bit, it gets a little bit thicker. And once again, you can always add a little bit of water if you think it's too thick, but it should be thick. Now add the other half of the raspberries and blend it together. And you're done. So there we have it. A rich chocolate mousse with, well, a fancy jam, basically. I added a meringue. You could use whipped cream as well, or whatever rocks your boat. Chocolate shavings, or, yeah, let your fantasy flow. I gotta taste it now. Oh, wow. That's something else. It has really good texture. Wow. And with that, I bid you a very nice day. And until next time, oh, I have to have one more. Oh my God.